Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the GZ Chop Shop podcast, your go to podcast for everything tech, gaming, and entertainment related. And let me just say, first of all, thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers and everyone who tuned in to the live stream, my Diablo 4 live stream that I had last week. If anyone is curious, no, I am not completely done on my Twitch channel. We are just going to be doing a lot more live streams over on YouTube because that's pretty much where the podcast crowd is. So if you guys are wondering where I am and where Warner's is and what we're doing, check out the YouTube channel. We're probably live over there having some fun playing Diablo or whatever other random games, or maybe we're just having a live podcast over there. So make sure to visit our YouTube channel, OSM Media, and subscribe if you haven't already. There will be another live stream this week, so make sure to turn on notifications so you guys don't miss it. Now, speaking on the tech side, you're going to find this fascinating because another one of our favorite companies, surprise, it's not Microsoft this week. It's going to be Amazon. Now, let me ask you something, Warners. How many smart devices do you have at your place?
I have my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tablet. My Alexa has been packed away for months. I don't use it. Technically, I have a Sony Smart TV, but I don't have any of its functions set up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't like speak to it or anything. Like it doesn't react to me. So, and a watch. I have an iWatch. I really
Now,
just use
imagine
that
if
for
you dug
running.
out your Alexa and you hooked it up, and let's say your place decided to do Ring doorbells. They didn't have the, authentic apartment doorbell, or people could just walk in and knock on your door. They gave you all Ring doorbells. And let's say you magically come home one day to find out that you are locked out of your place, not because of the landlord, but because your smart system, your device has deemed you to be punished to be locked out of your place. How would
What?
that make you feel?
What?
I see the visible confusion. So let me explain. Because a lot of people are probably thinking like, what? That's stupid. That could never happen. It has happened. So there's this man. I don't remember where he is. It was actually a YouTube video that a buddy
I bet
sent
his
me.
Alexa knows where he is.
Alexa knows where he is. It was a video that my buddy sent me. Shout out to Tito for bringing this to my attention. He has a smart home. He probably doesn't anymore, but he has a smart home. And he came home from work one day to find out that he had been locked out of his Alexa house.
Alexa house.
Yeah. His entire house pretty much put him in timeout. And the reason being,
Timeout.
now here's the thing. The
Dude,
reason
just clean the
being
floors.
is that his Ring doorbell detected that a racist remark had been made.
by him.
But that's the thing. He was at work.
Okay.
And he doesn't live alone. So all he does is he comes home and he's locked out of his house for an entire week. There was no exception. Now, mind you, he went through this entire week not being able to get into his house.
Where's the other person that lived in this house?
I'm guessing everyone was locked out, but being it's his house,
Or maybe that was just someone that was there.
that probably was just someone that was
Okay.
there. I know that it, as the guy goes into detail on the channel, that says that there's other family, but what basically when he retraced the steps, so obviously, because you can connect your Ring to Amazon. Now, I never saw a reason to have like a full smart home, like completely lock your house and unlock your house, like security things, like if there's a breach in
I'm pretty
a
good with a
window or
key.
door, sure.
He's been working fine for me.
key's been working fine. Well, basically how the detail goes is he calls Amazon, and instead of just straight up telling, they do like a parent does. You know how when your parent knows what you did, but you don't know that they know, but they try to get you to admit to it?
Wait. Okay, go on here.
Okay, like this. So
This is his house.
this
What
is
do you
his
mean?
house. But think about it, like when you know your kids did something, right? But you want them to learn how to be honest. So you try to get them to tell the truth,
Oh,
but
God.
they don't know that you already know what they did.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
So Amazon basically did this. He calls him and he says, "Hey, I'm locked out of my house. You know what's going on? I need to get in my house." So they basically go, "Well, do you know what may have caused this?" And he's like, "Well,
That's why I'm calling you.
that's why I'm calling you." No. So then it goes on to say that they went from friendly to accusatory.
Wait. The Amazon, like
Yeah.
the rep helping him.
The rep helping him, they went from friendly to accusatory. And then, long story short, basically saying, well, we've got evidence that you that
Continue.
you've made a racist remark to someone.
Sure.
And then it gets crazy from there. He's like, what are you talking about? I wasn't even home. I was at work. And they're like, well, your ring picked up XYZ here's what makes it worse. It was a driver. I'm guessing it was a food delivery driver. They just say it was a driver who reported hearing through the Ring doorbell a racist remark.
An Amazon driver or like,
I don't know what kind of driver. I'm assuming like a DoorDash driver or a food driver of some sort,
is there
some
a
delivery.
fucking underground like system in place to communicate to Amazon?
So that's what the guy in the YouTube video was saying, the one who's delivering the report. And that's what I'm thinking too. I'm like, so wait a minute. I can just walk past someone who I don't like, trigger their Ring, and then go, oh, they said something racist to me. Go to Amazon, report the address, and get them locked out of their house like that.
So did it get resolved?
Yeah, he's finally back in his
He
house.
moved. He had to
And
move.
he got back into his house. It got resolved, but he was still locked out for a solid week. He couldn't access it for a week. Period. Like Amazon did not resolve it that
legal,
day.
though? Like if there's no like imminent threat, how is that legal?
That's a good question. But basically, when he went back and he was reviewing the footage, he was like, well, first of all, there was nobody home at the time that this was said to have occurred. He said all he heard was the doorbell saying, because you can have it sent like when it rings, it goes, hi, no one is home. How may I help you? He said the person probably rang it. And as they were walking away, Ring said that statement. And then they maybe misheard it as something else and then made the report. But that doesn't resolve the issue that this random person, because he said, first of all, my family and I and the drivers in our area are all the same race. So that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, no, you could still make a racist remark to someone that's in the same race.
Okay, but I'm not condoning racism by all means, but it's his house.
It's still his house.
It's his house. Like
that he's paying for.
Amazon, you can't just shut a man's house down because he said something that what?
So here's the thing. And we, you asked the question, you're like, is that legal? Who knows? It probably is because you've said it before. We don't have the first rule against robotics, AI, and all that. We have no laws in place for that. So if this is the smart home being shut down, being triggered, then there's nothing that they can do about that. Who are you taking to court?
Yeah, you're better than me. That dude's better than me. I would have broke a window to get in. And then like, what is my house? Let the alarm go off. It's my
And
house.
you know what's funny?
Alexa would have just immediately would have taken a hammer.
But you know what's
I would have
funny?
gone on the offensive on the robots. Skynet's going down. Like, we're
He
done.
probably would have been arrested for breaking into his own house. Because think about it. Criminals who come onto your property, I know Texas is different, but that's the whole thing when they're like, if you down someone to your property, drag them back into your house, that whole thing.
No, Texas is just built different, but it's not necessarily a good thing.
No. But there's been cases where a criminal will break into a person's house, get hurt, and sue the owner and win. So he could break into his own house, which I'm sure he thought of, and then realize, man, our system is so stupid. I'm going to break into this house. They'll give some roundabout legal law jargon not in favor of me, and then he'll wind up in jail for breaking into his own house.
Cops show up, you're just yelling.
On top of that, hey, you have to pay legal fees.
Alexa, I'll kill you. And they're like, they think you're talking about a person.
Yeah.
And then, damn you, bitch. It's just like a whole thing.
So messy. But yeah, this guy got totally locked out of his smart home. Like, I used to think smart homes was kind of cool. You know, like smart refrigerators, smart appliances, your security's on point. Most of the time, people aren't going to want to mess with it because they're like, man, you got like 30 cameras everywhere. I can't even go outside on my house and have privacy. But after hearing this, I'm like, you know what? I'm happy having just mild smart devices. Like, it's my doorbell and it lets us know what's happening out back.
I got rid of Alexa ever since that thing came out where people were just walking by homes and accessing your internet through your
the
Alexa, like hotspots. Yeah.
So that's because
that's enough for you.
People didn't know where to find or they were ignoring it because Amazon gave the option to opt out. But the problem with that was they gave a time limit on when you could opt out. So if you didn't opt out before a certain date, your devices were automatically added to the program. I think after some pushback, they left the setting on how to opt out, but it's not easy to find. Like you gotta navigate a bit. But when they first did it, they did not make it easy to opt out.
So was there anything else on this guy's, like, did Amazon say anything after this happened? Was there an apology?
Amazon apologizing? Absolutely not. I mean, I like, there's more details in the video, but when I first read it, it was like so unbelievable at the time that I was watching it. I was just like, this man got locked out of his house for a week.
See, remember I told you we had that robot at the hospital, right? And I didn't tell you this part, blinks its digital eyes and shit and changes colors and shows slight emotions, I guess. Now I'm going to be even more wary of that thing because what if it decides to lock me out? What if it decides I'm a problem?
And it's just crazy because at some point, like right now, having a smart home is a choice. You choose to have a smart home. Just understand that these are some of the risks that'll now come with that choice. But at some point, it will no longer be a choice. And I think the government, like they will never make that an illegal move because they benefit from it. Amazon has government contracts. Everybody knows this. So who knows? This could have been one of many experiments, and this one just happened to get reported. Because imagine, it seems like a far-flung future, but let's be honest, our current future seemed far-flung to people who were saying
go
it was
to the news media or something about it. Like just try to make it like a whole thing. If Amazon, if it really was that bad and Amazon they weren't helpful, they were just accusatory and then didn't even apologize. I wonder if he got rid of all his smart devices after that or his.
No, he said he still likes Amazon. He still uses Amazon products.
He's better than me. That Alexa would have taken. I don't know what like violence towards robotics would be considered, but it would have existed had it been.
He even thought before going to Amazon. He even thought that maybe he had been hacked, which is a possibility. He said he was using a very old email, so someone might have gained access to that. But he said he was using, strong encrypted, first of all, strongly encrypted passwords via Apple. So I'm like, okay, well, that means, you use any password keychain, whoever you use that password keychain through, they have access to your passwords as well. So,
there's a sitcom in there somewhere, like Jonathan and Alexa, and it's just like them having little disputes and like living their life, and she makes him sleep in the
she takes the
yard,
role of the wife.
they have little bickering moments, like
Oh man. But no, I'm thinking that if anything, the government would be totally for it. Imagine the power they could exert by, yeah, you pay to live in this house, you pay the bills, but they suddenly deem that you're a threat for whatever reason. They can lock you out of your home. Boom. Flip of the switch. Lock you
yeah,
out.
AI is causing a lot of problems lately. And we took a few episodes to try to like get off that topic and you know talk more about a lot of the other stuff we like to talk about with gaming and tech and what have you. But it's just like this past several months has been one thing after another ever since that chat GPT like exploded. We had some of the colleges having issues with whether or not people, were cheating or not cheating, even if they had proof they weren't. We've had I saw one thing on the news, just like in passing, that people are being called and scammed by scammers are using AI to authenticate perfectly family members' voices and mannerisms and tone to get money from them. And then, just all kinds of stuff, man. Every time I turn around, it's something.
And there's
And recently there was that whole thing with Congress and experts, and Congress shut down the idea of rules and regulations, like firm rules. And I'm like, why? Like, what do you the only plausible reason I can think of why our why our own government would not want any rules or regulations would be because somehow, if they were to do that, it would cause an issue in the economy. Like somebody's not going to make money, somebody's going to lose money, something along those lines. Because otherwise, why would you not want to put any rules and regulations on this on AI and how to appropriately use it?
I would say because one, the initial thought is look how old people in Congress are. I mean, they're up there. So to them, it seems like not that important on, they don't understand. They get, the what's presented to them, but it might not personally be affecting them
Oh, we
because
know they
maybe
don't
they don't use
understand.
it.
Remember that whole TikTok thing? Oh,
Yeah,
Siri?
exactly.
Jesus Christ. I felt
Exactly.
so bad for that CEO, man. Like the look on his face every few seconds, just like, did you not just hear what I said?
Yeah. So
Good Lord.
they don't understand. So as long as the people who are making this stuff can speak circles around them, and their only question probably, does it present a security issue to the
Yes.
United States? No. Okay. Because they don't understand it. They don't understand the extent of it. And by the time they do, it will be too late because they go, sure, you can put rules and regulations, but here's the benefits.
If my toaster transforms into something, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm just saying, you remember that first, what was that appliance? I'm trying to remember the appliance in the first Transformers that was like chilling, and then he was just like and just started shooting people, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
all
Yeah.
right,
I think it was a toaster. I'm just saying,
my
it's,
robot noises.
we, right now, it seems like a luxury and everyone's abusing it as a luxury. Anything that could make your life easier. I get it. It's convenient. I'm sure, we're guilty of anything that makes our life a little bit easier. But it is getting out of hand. And the
Yeah.
fact, and I always say, I'm like, I always try to warn people. I'm like, look out for your jobs. And they're always putting out and like, oh, it's not take. Here's how you know it's a problem. Anytime, like at least a few times a month, how many times do we see a report that comes out to say, don't worry, it's not taking your job? If it's not a concern of it taking people's jobs, why do they have to keep reassuring everyone every few weeks with a new report?
That robot, that $80,000 robot took someone's job, or they could have just designated that to someone else or whatever. They want to waste their money, whatever. I mean, it's no, like, we all know now. It's like one of those things, like, we're all aware of it, but what are we going to do? We can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because no one fully understands. Everyone's comfortable. And like you said, at first, that's what we think of it when you said, if they want to waste their money, but technically they're not. That's a one-time fee with maintenance each year, which when you do the math, to them is more affordable than hiring a person. Because what do you not have to give the machine? Benefits, paid vacation.
And to take this a little further, and this is not something I've brought up before. I've talked about what would a society look like when there are so many people replaced with robotics and AI, like fast food drives, self checkouts. When it hits such a limit that it actually affects the homeless population and that sort of thing. Just not enough people are working anymore. That's just one side of it, though. So not only are you replacing people with all of these machines, but those machines aren't paying taxes. Not that I'm pro taxes, not that I'm like we should pay taxes, but
Mhm.
the government is not. That's not taxes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the government's not getting paid taxes. Maybe they're getting something for some kind of like feedback monetarily for companies using robotics, but that's not a human being that has to pay taxes.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
we will still,
So
humans
the
will still pay
government
the
would
taxes
lose. I would
for
think
it.
the government would lose money, like the federal government, because they're not
Ah,
receiving taxes in that sense. Like, all of that stuff. That's just what I think. Like, this is. I'm sure. Like, I'm not an expert, but that's what makes sense in my head. You have less people working, and then more robotics and AI working, and we're just paying for that to do that job. But those entities themselves are not paying anybody or spending money
no.
to put anything into the economy.
They wouldn't lose taxes because if you think back to COVID, basically, the governments, the corporations, they don't care. All they care is spend the money. We don't care how you get it. We don't care what hoops you have to jump through to make it. Just spend it and pay your taxes. And they're the two guarantees in life: death and taxes. So what's going to happen is the same thing that happened to people that lost their jobs when COVID hit. They're just going to look and say, figure it out. But you got to pay your taxes. Taxes is never going to go away. They're just going to tell us.
But who's
to
going to
figure
make
it
up
out.
for that loss in revenue and that loss in like nobody's going out and less people would be going out and spending money because more people are replaced by machines on top of less people paying taxes because more people are replaced by machines. So at some point you would think that they would probably just more heavily tax the people that are working
Probably the
instead of
people that are currently
a
working.
different system.
Yeah, you'll just see the taxes go up. I mean, look at the cost of living now. The cost of living has gone up, but the pay doesn't match. It's harder to live on your own now than it was 20 years ago. It's harder to buy a house on your own now than it was 20 years ago. You know, and on top of
I
that,
actually read something yesterday about the current housing market, and I don't know the no. I vaguely remember the numbers, so don't quote me here. This is just off memory and reading it the other day, but it was something like only 23% of the American population make. I think it was $75,000
mhm,
or more,
mhm,
and then out of that percentage, like I think like 1% makes, 250 or higher, something along those lines. Versus in 2000, I think 13, 51% of the population made at least $75,000. And with that said, like the houses that are affordable only make up, it was like 17% of the total housing market. So it was something like that. Those aren't exact. You look it up yourself, but it was along those lines.
Basically,
I was like, Jesus.
the people that made the money back, a few years ago to be able to afford the houses, they're not able to anymore.
Yeah.
And the cost of houses has gone up. Houses that were cheap back in the day because they were like small houses, starter homes, cost, in certain places almost $250,000 now.
Let's move along before I go down this rabbit hole of
it's a pretty nasty it's a pretty nasty rabbit hole to go in, but yeah. So move along, still on Amazon. This is another topic we talked about. Twitch.
Yeah, that was my thought there. I wasn't aware of this because I haven't been messing with, like, I'll watch people on Twitch, but I have not been personally streaming or messing with any of that stuff in about well over a year now. You brought to my attention that there are more recent updates and changes and rules require anyone who is currently affiliate to pay, what was it, $25?
$25 if you want to terminate your affiliation with them. Yeah. You must pay what is called a maintenance fee.
So how because I've been telling people, okay, leave your Twitch account, don't use it. Just leave it there and just stream somewhere else. Don't give up the affiliate. Just don't, like, do they after X amount of time send you a bill?
Yeah. So if you don't,
I've probably gotten a bill then.
yeah. So what happens is, if you've made affiliate, if you've read the contract when you signed up, after a certain amount of time, if you weren't not streaming, they would just remove your status and you would have to start the process completely over. I think it's like after a year, 2 years, if you weren't doing anything, like at least a stream, because I think it was like X amount of streams a year. And it wasn't a huge number. It was something small, very manageable. But if you didn't do it, then they just remove your status. So what I think happened is, with the rise of another challenging streaming platform, Kick, and people shifting to YouTube, and a lot of people not liking the direction that Twitch is heading, a lot of people have been leaving Twitch behind. They're moving on. They're moving to YouTube. They're moving to Kick. They're moving to Trovo.
And we've talked about YouTube, like they have their flaws, but I've always felt YouTube is at least more transparent with things and consistent.
Yeah. The real thing for YouTube is they allow more flexibility with your content. That's honestly what it really is. A lot of the big streamers that left Twitch that went to YouTube said they did so because they can still put out content and not need to be live every single day for hours on. They can get other things done and still maintain that traffic.
And Twitch got rid of that feature. Not that Twitch, it wasn't even close to what YouTube's was, but you could save clips and whatnot.
Yeah, you could, with YouTube, you have an entire VOD library. Like, say you had a low turnout live stream on YouTube, that's fine. That VOD will be there forever. So it could gain traction months from now and be a ticket to success with you while you're still putting out content over time, and people start to find you. They can still look at your older content and you can benefit from it via ad revenue, product placement, etc. It can still generate you revenue. Where with Twitch, your videos are there for like maybe 7 days, maybe a month, I think, if you're a partner, but no one's going in your backlog on Twitch. Twitch is a completely live focused service. So your entire live it has to be a good turnout when you're live. And for it to finally work, you've got to do that every single day for hours on end for even a hope of generating a little bit revenue. And then you got to consider Twitch's monetary split, which is another reason people were leaving. You're putting in the 8 hours. You built your channel. You're constantly trying to navigate. You're putting out your going lives on your Twitter, on your Instagram. You're doing all of this stuff to bring the traffic to your Twitch page, which is bringing traffic to Twitch. And then you have to be entertaining for hours, 8 to 10 hour live stream. Be entertaining to keep people on Twitch, for them to subscribe, to donate, XYZ. For Twitch to come along, people cheer, people donate, people, subscribe. You've put in this legwork to generate that revenue on Twitch for your channel, mainly for yourself. So you've done legwork for Twitch to come along and go, okay, so we'll take 50%. For what? What did you do to help me get this traffic? We provided the platform and the connection for you to stream. And that deserves 50%. If I had 2 people watching my stream, you've done nothing to make that audience bigger for me. I had to do this legwork. And then as soon as my audience is worth something, you come across and you say, all right, you got some stuff. We'll take 50%.
Yeah, that's something Trovo does. I've noticed I've seen Trovo getting used a lot more by, I think it was initially for like mobile gaming, but as more like console and PC gamers have started using it, I've noticed that they'll, after you've accomplished so much, stream for X amount, they'll showcase you within, I guess, reason for them, like on their top page. Like they'll, it's not perfect, but it's a lot more than Twitch does. Like it showcases you to people and puts you out there for a little bit.
Yeah. And for Twitch, they already come along. They're already saying, hey, we're going to take 50%. We've done nothing really to help you. We let you do the work. We come cost, take 50%. But if you leave us, you owe us $25. Now, realistically, your average Twitch streamer is lucky to make $25 in a stream on a good day. Like your average streamer. So for most people, they're going to wind up being stuck because, first of all, unless like, if you want to bite the bullet and you just say, screw it, I'll just pay that $25 out of pocket. Cool. And pay it in your release from your affiliation status. Either way, Twitch has set themselves up to make the money. But they know most people are not going to want to pay the money that they've not made to Twitch. I didn't even make $25. Why am I going to pay you $25?
Yeah.
So they know you got like 3 groups of people. Those who are just like, screw it, I'll pay the 25. I'm out. Easy day. Then those who are like, well, crap, I'll just kind of hang in limbo with my Twitch. I still have to stream, which still brings some traffic to Twitch. And then those who are like, well, if I got to pay $25 to get out, I'm going to at least make that $25 off Twitch to cover it. I'm not just paying that out of my pocket, which still wins for Twitch because you're still going to be on there. You're still going to be doing the streams, bringing them traffic and ad revenue. And which is the other thing, they play all these ads in your channel. And I think the ads you get paid for are the ads you play. I don't think you get revenue for the ads that they forcibly put on your channel. I don't think you get revenue for that. Or if you do, it's like a fraction of a cent.
I know, like way early in the earlier Twitch days when their automatic ads first came out, you got something. It was like a very small percentage, but I think they got rid of that a while back.
I think they got rid of that, yeah, because people were actually making money off of it.
Yeah, and now it's just a way for them to force people to subscribe.
And I think the other thing was too, they were trying to figure out a way to. Twitch has been trying so hard to figure a way on how to interject into people's personal ways of making revenue. A lot of people will say, don't just subscribe to me on Twitch. Just go to my donation link, completely cutting Twitch out, because then Twitch tried to implement this donate button. And I forget, I think it fell through because people called them out on it. Like, no, you're not cutting it on my donations. You're not doing that.
Yeah.
Cause somebody donates you 100 bits, you're only getting 50. They take half of that. Somebody does a $5 subscription, you're only getting 250. They take half of that. And then they wanted to jump in on donations. Like, yeah, if they hit our donate button, it would cause this whole special effects and da. And then we just take a little bit of that. And it's like, no, I earned that donation. You're not coming in and taking half of that for your little measly effect. Like, no. So they were starting to get a little bit bitter that people were going, and I guess you could say it's kind of like third party ways of monetizing. People were figuring out how to use Twitch without having to pay Twitch per se, but they were making money. They were just telling people, follow me here for free, subscribe to me here. That's not Twitch. Send your subscription that you're going to give me on Twitch, but send it over to, OF or whatever website I have. Subscribe to me over there. And then they still were making money off Twitch, but they were only using it for the ad revenue. So the ads would play. Sure, people weren't getting around the ads. So they were making the money off ad revenue, but they weren't having to split their donations. They weren't having to split their subscriptions. People who did decide to subscribe to them, cool. They still got 50% off of that. But there was the bigger portion of money Twitch was getting cut out of because they were just splitting ad revenue, bits, and subscriptions with a channel. But you could easily go to this person's channel. You look at their donation bar and they made like $3,000 in a stream. But when you do the math on what they made through Twitch, they might have made like $1,000. So Twitch was like, oh, we're actually missing out on money. These people are making bank elsewhere by getting around us. So they've always been tweaking their TOS to penalize people now that tried to make money elsewhere.
Do they still have, I've noticed a lot of people don't have that donate button anymore.
Yeah, because nobody wants to split that much money with Twitch. I think even for partners, like, how before it was like partners were kind of sitting a little bit nicer, a little bit cushier. They're even going like with the partners, because I think before with the partners, it was 70-30 more
on
in favor of the partners.
On the direct donations.
Well, 70-30 were like all their revenue made through Twitch. I think it was like 70% to the partner, 30% to Twitch. Once you made partner, you got a bigger cut. But I think now it's 50-50 across the board, if I remember correctly. I think it's 50-50 no matter what stat you want.
I'm surprised Twitch has lasted this long because, over the past few years, they keep making the worst moves possible that benefit their users and consumers the least. And they keep taking more and more and making, honestly, just bad calls for their streamers, yet people keep using Twitch.
I was going to say the reason Twitch will keep lasting is because people keep using it, and the content that is on there is definitely to blame, because it's Twitch no longer even tries to hide it.
Yeah, it's not even Twitch, was for gamers, and that's really all it was for. And then once other people realize you could start streaming anything on there, it's really just it's not even like really for gaming as much anymore.
No, gaming is its face to keep the crowd there, but it's not its main selling point. Sure, it's the cover, it's what everyone thinks, but it's not its actual main selling point. So it's why it will continue to thrive. It's why they're able to make all these adjustments, because they know that people are still going to gravitate to it. And then there's still people who are thinking that they'll have a chance because, there's a luck factor and everyone is banking on that. This could be my lucky day. And that's what Twitch is banking on, us being hamsters in a wheel. You never know when your chance might come. It could be your turn. That one day you didn't live stream could have been your lucky day.
What's Kix is an Australian company, isn't it?
I don't know
I think
who
it's
owns Kick.
Australian. Recently saw, I don't remember the streamer's name, but someone just got partnered with them for like, it was like a $200 million deal.
And see,
Like that
that's why people keep going to the live streaming platform, because they're all thinking, dang, that could be me. But it's a small percent, like less than 5% will actually reach that kind of level, that kind of partnership, that kind of, because the one thing that they'll, all the and I will say there is some validity to what they say, but they don't tell you the rest of the story. They'll always say, be consistent, stream every day, be consistent. And that's like the media having a generic message. It's like, yeah, sure, be consistent, but there's more to it that they don't tell people. And who knows? They're probably under contractual obligation not to give the recipe to success. Yeah, because if everyone knew it, everyone would be up for a $200 million contract deal.
These content creators that have been doing this for years, like they put in a lot of work and stuff, and I think they should, especially if their viewership has been consistent and they're bringing in viewers, and those viewers are bringing in money, then they should be paid accordingly. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a business. However, I understand. I totally, absolutely understand why they're all leaving. Like they are putting all this hard work. They are making Twitch money, but more of their money is being taken from their pocket. You know, and it's no wonder so many of the biggest streamers have either broke contract or never renewed and went somewhere else. And instead of Twitch doing anything to try to fix the problem or make it better for everybody, they make a change and make it even worse. And then people don't even come back. And then they're just like, oh, well, we thought about what you said, but also insert sarcasm. Fuck you. Like I don't understand it.
I now believe that in the case of Twitch, the faces they use to advertise Twitch are not the faces that actually make them the money. Twitch has the shadow, what I'm going to call them, the shadow streamers, the streamers that they can't advertise, but that they actually favor, because
those would be the affiliates who have the potential or should be made partner, but despite their work are kept at the affiliate status, because affiliate, to make them partner would mean to pay them more money versus keeping them in the, keeping that affiliate that brings in 400 or 500 views per live session and making Twitch lots of money, and not paying that streamer a little better and making them partner or whatever the case. And partner's not even as, it's not even as lucrative as it used to be. I mean, they've shafted those partners so many times over the past few years. Power to the ones that continue to stick through it.
Yeah. And it sucks because, for people who that's been their goal, the badges back then on all social media platforms meant something. You earned a badge on Instagram, it meant something. Twitter, it meant something. Twitch, it meant something. YouTube, it meant something. So you got people for years, sometimes decades, that have been working to this goal, to now you get it on Twitch and it's like, yo, we made it. And then you really find out, damn, was it worth it? Now I'm stuck. I can't go anywhere else unless I'm willing to break contract.
Yeah, which is why we've talked about before. I think a little over a year ago, we had a show and we talked about how important it is for for content creators to put your stuff on more than one platform, do more than one thing, and branch out. Don't be afraid to branch out, because if you stick with just one thing and your goal truly is to be successful, maybe not rich, but just successful, right? Like you just want that to be your full-time job and you want to do well. You can't just stick with Twitch. The likelihood of you making it on Twitch alone is very small. That's part of the reason why TikTok is so successful. I see more people now streaming on TikTok and Trovo and YouTube than I've ever seen on Twitch. And I know so many people that have left Twitch for TikTok. And I didn't even know you could live stream on TikTok till recently. And then YouTube. Kicks I never heard about until recently. I guess they're pretty new.
They're pretty new, but they're gaining traction. They're definitely gaining traction, so they can't be slept on.
Trovo's just complicated, dude. Like I like what they're trying to do. I think they favor their content creators more. But I don't know if you've ever messed with the interface of Trovo, but it is so just overpacked full of information and different things. It's not user friendly.
I think they made it very casual, user friendly. Trovo is trying to make sure that people don't turn Trovo into Twitch. So the harder you make it for those types of streamers, it's the best way to enforce it. Because there was a whole thing, I think, like there was an issue, I think, with Trovo when like a mod went into one of those big hot tub streams and brought up an issue. And it was like so much backlash to Trovo and not the streamer themselves that I'm like, that's probably why Trovo makes their interface so complex, because their whole purpose is easy money for minimal effort. So the more effort they have to put in, the less likely those types are going to use your platform, because their whole point is least amount of work for the biggest return. And then Trovo was the haven for gamers who used to like Twitch, but then Twitch abandoned us. So we're going to put in the effort, you know, your musicians, your painters, your content creators, your woodworkers, your artists, they want their craft to be taken seriously. They're used to putting in work. So they're going to take the time to learn the interface to get there. Cause it's the same thing with YouTube. I mean, YouTube allows everything, but guess what? You're not going to just thrive in that one realm.
Yeah. They have a more complicated algorithm.
Yeah. You're not going to just thrive in that one realm. Like with Twitch, you can just do that and you'll thrive. So all the other platforms make the effort a little bit harder. So only people that are serious about their craft get on the platform and then can get showcased. Because Trovo, if they use an algorithm for showcasing, they want to make sure that the gamers are showcased. That's what it's for. So they want to make sure that the people on their platform are people that they can showcase to potential advertising partners, possibly. You know, that's stuff that they've got to consider. And if companies actually paid attention to what kind of content's on Twitch, a lot of them would not want to advertise with Twitch.
I think that's what's saving the face of Twitch right now, despite all their bad decision, is the only people that really understand what Twitch really is now and the direction they're going and what they're doing are the people that are using Twitch. Everyone looking from the outside, inside, just sees Twitch and sees it as just a gaming streaming platform.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's our thoughts on the matter. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the Ring doorbell situation? Do you guys have a smart home? How would you handle being locked out of your house without your permission and knowledge? And if you're a content creator, what platforms do you use? Do you still use Twitch? Do you use Kick, Trovo, YouTube? We'd love to hear from you guys. And speaking of YouTube, don't forget, we will be live this week, this Friday, for another Diablo 4 live stream. So don't miss it. Go check out our YouTube channel. It will be totally worth it. Anyway, we're out of here. You guys have been amazing. Take care of yourself and each other, and we'll catch all of you wonderful people on the next podcast. Later.